Shopping centres rejoice! You have another bland pop album you can play on repeat for the next 10 years.
I see snap.
Look, this is kind of my first listen to Tate McRae's music, apart from hearing it out in the wild if I'm out and about, or you know, sometimes they play it at the shop that I work at, and from what I can kind of hear, it's a bit confused, especially when you compare it to other music out there, for example Sabrina Carpenter's new album. But if you like this, that's okay too. Like, it's pop, you're kind of supposed to like it. It's catchy and it's unoffensive. So close to what is her third studio album, and listening back you kind of understand why this album is doing much better in terms of quality and content. You can kind of hear Tate starting to narrow her sound here, sort of find out who she is, defining her style, if you will. 16 songs running at about 45 minutes, and in my opinion that's still too long. There's only so much I can listen to with her voice. Like, some moments she sings really well, and then others it just sounds a bit too much. One thing I will say, it sounds very well produced in terms of music. Everything is quite spatial, using that sound spectrum to its kind of fullest potential. Take for example the first song, Miss Possessive, which instrumentally isn't too bad. It sounds really nice. I will say though, the loops they're using are a bit obvious and repetitive, especially that hand pan sound. I'm not against loops, obviously, but you can definitely tell when someone's just dragged and dropped one. And the lyrics feeling maybe a little bit toxic. Definitely a song for girls who've been brought up to find other women a threat. And the same could be said for the track Signs, which was completely and utterly unnecessary. I'm not mad means you're in trouble. What's more annoying is she kind of recognizes this shitty behavior that she's doing. So classic, assuming you're telepathic. Okay, it might make me batshit. Yeah, no shit. But then she goes on to say, know me better. Don't normalize shitty, abusive behavior, and that goes for everybody. The album itself is a mix between fairly decent, mediocre, and just kind of meh. For instance, the next track, Revolving Doors, I actually thought it was quite good. This dreamy reverb soundscape, in denial about lusting over a particular person, supported by this fast percussion, and Tate's vocals here working really well, I think. But then right after this is followed by something completely forgettable, Blood on My Hands featuring Flo Milli. But then immediately it's followed by something a bit more interesting. Dear God, these heavy drums, that naughty high-pitched girl pop sound that's happening in the background. Lyrically, it's nothing profound or anything, but it is quite fun. But I do love the idea that someone's living in your head rent-free, and the only way to get them out is to pray to God to evict them. But also the lyrics on Purple Bra I also found quite funny. The whole, you don't really care what I have to say or what I have to think unless, you know, I'm doing something sexy. And that line, the only time you think I've got depth is when I'm giving you head. Love it. Vocally it is quite nasally though, I will say that. And the instrumentation is okay with these strings going on in the background. Overall sounding a bit cloudy, too much going on. There's quite a few noises here that sound like they're clashing just a little bit too much. Coming onto one of the teaser singles, Sports Car. Again, this song for me, I just never really clicked with me. It's too much like the Pussycat Dolls, and I didn't really like them either. From here though, with one of the few features from Kid LAROI, like, who is this person? Either way, his performance is slur and shout. Feeling like a third wheel to a couple who've just met and have decided to get each other's names tattooed on their hands. At this point, it's getting harder to pay attention to this album. The songs just kind of blend together. Like, there's nothing really like awful happening here. There's just nothing really good either. That is until you reach the song Greenlight, which is another song that stood out to me a little bit. Again, having this kind of dreamy vibe to it. It's very sweet and heavy, sounding like you're in syrup, and it has these really interesting moments where this sort of reverb atmosphere is cut through with some sort of heavy distorted bass, making for quite a nice contrast and something overall a little different. This then leads on to Two Hands. Honestly, just feeling really messy. There's too much going on here for me to enjoy it properly. From these like annoying siren synth sounds, way too much happening up in these high ends. But this is sandwiched between another song I didn't mind, Siren Sounds. Again, it's nothing special, but I did enjoy it. It was quite a nice listen, and it was something, you know, that stands out from a lot of the other tracks on the album. Finally, we're met with the last song on the album, Nostalgia, which hits you with this sort of guitar riff that you would hear in like noughties pop music. And honestly, it's not a bad ending to what is an okay album. Heartfelt lyrics about what ifs and what could have beens. Overall, I thought this album was too long. If it was shorter, I think I would have enjoyed it a bit more. So close to what offers fleeting moments of good songs, but ultimately doesn't give you enough. While there are sort of glimmers here of her defining her sound more, much of the record leans on sort of predictable pop tropes, with tracks ending up just sort of blending into each other. There's a sense that Tate really has like something there and she's sort of pushing for it, and I think she can do it, but it's finding that sort of niche and artistic voice. But for those who love that sort of glossy, overproduced pop sound, there's definitely a lot you're gonna love here, so enjoy it. With all of that, I think I would give this album a 4 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought below. I love to hear what you have to say. So yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, whatever you like. And yeah, hopefully catch you on the next one. Thank you and goodbye.